Ramble.
Thank you to Baze for sponsoring this episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of You Can Sit With Us. I'm one of your hosts, Becky. I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello.
Matthew.
Hello.
We got Rainie on the ones and twos.
Hey, girl.
And today, we actually have a very special guest.
Woo.
I've known her since high school, since our beautiful years in high school. But she is actually incredibly fucking cool and made a movie. She wrote and stars in a movie that by the time you're listening to this, you'll be able to watch it. But for us, it's a little bit early. It'll be coming out this weekend. She wrote a movie called The Year Between, starring herself, Steve Buscemi, J. Smith Cameron. Alex, you wrote a movie.
Whoa.
Yeah. Man, remember high school? Part of the movie is shot there.
Yeah.
Oh, Becky,
really?
you shoot it at Stack?
I sure
Like at
did.
the high school.
No
where you
way.
went.
At the high school,
Wow.
like on the soccer field.
Wow.
It's the same dean.
Wow.
I don't know if I should name her. I probably won't, but she was like supervising the shoot, and
Wow.
I was like, "Remember when you gave me detentions, haha?" And she was like, "Yes," and that was weird. But yeah, I mean, going back there was traumatic. I don't know.
I was like, wow, very triggering.
Yeah, it was crazy, but also fun, and it was like a fun homecoming to shoot in our hometown. But the movie is The Year Between is a comedy about, it's based on my experiences with bipolar disorder. So sometimes when I talk about the movie, it feels like there's this expectation that I'm this aficionado on mental illness,
Yeah.
which I'm not. And I'm definitely not a mental health professional. And also I'm just coming from the direction of being like, I'm one person with a collection of experiences, and that has informed a piece of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes it does feel like there is this pressure to, like, I think especially when you're dealing with like sensitive topics, there's this pressure to get it right and represent everybody, but that's kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the movie is my freshman year of college. I had this big mental breakdown, and then I was diagnosed, and I spent a long time trying to figure out treatment, and this movie is kind of inspired by that time, what I explored and how it really impacted my family and the people around me. It's also largely inspired by another mutual friend of ours who went through a similar experience at the same time, and just like over the years, because I've been trying to make this movie for 6 years before I made it, and
Yeah, take us
Hollywood is
back.
slow.
Take a long time.
Hollywood is slow.
Yeah, take us back, because your freshman year of college would have been over 10 years ago.
oh my god,
Thanks for
'cause we're
dating her,
old.
Becky. Wow.
We're old.
Thanks for dating her.
I don't know what
her.
you're talking about.
And you had these experiences, but then when did the idea for them to write this down?
First of all, I'm
Where'd that come
21, so let's be clear.
So
Sorry, my bad.
It's so funny that I play a 20/21-year-old in the movie and literally look 40, but it is what it is. Movie magic. So freshman year of college, I leave when I'm 19, and I definitely don't intend on ever talking about the experience to anybody. I was very private about it. When I went back to school, and I would like take the bus into the city, because I went to school in Evanston at Northwestern, and I would take the bus into Chicago twice a week to see a psychiatrist. And I didn't tell anyone I knew, and I was very embarrassed by it, and I was weirdly cringed out by it. I felt like if I talked about having a mental illness, people would think I was doing it for attention or something. Like, that's not a real thing. I had a bad experience with some teachers when I went back to school who didn't get it, because I was in the process of trying all these different medications, and they had really intense side effects, which is something I explore in the movie. But I would be passing out in class, and
Gosh.
I'd been like, and I would get called out on it in front of my classmates, and it was just I digress, but it was a tough time, and by the time I was a senior, because I've studied film in college, I took a class where we had to write a screenplay, and I decided to write about this experience. And I was also really inspired by Kat's experience and our friend. And it was kind of something that I thought, a teacher will read this and give me a grade on it, and then no one will ever read it again. But when I graduated, I kept thinking about it and how I really felt like there was something there, and this was a story that I really wanted to tell. And I started making more and more short films that I also wrote, and directed, and I acted in some of those. And then I kind of realized how fucking hard it is to make an indie film, to make anything, but that if I wanted to try to get someone to some entity to give me money to make this project, I was going to have to own having the mental illness. I was going to have to basically be like, hi, this is my story. This is what it's inspired by. It comes from a real place. I couldn't really just hide, and I couldn't, the way I saw it, I couldn't do both. So I made a conscious decision to be like, this is my thing. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to figure out a way to tell this story, even if it takes me forever. And something that was kind of integral to the process was in 2017, I made this Instagram account called The Mentally Trillist, and not plugging it, but I'm just
absolutely plugging it.
No.
The memes are very funny.
They're fine.
They're funny memes.
They're fine. But the cool thing about it was that over the years, I really met a lot of other mentally ill people on the internet, and I would DM with these people every day, simultaneously. After I graduated, I was living in my mom's house in the suburbs in the basement, and I didn't have a car, and I didn't have people around me other than my family. And so really my community was Instagram and the people I met online. And so I'm messaging these people every day. I'm learning more about their experiences and what parts of bipolar disorder and other mental illnesses they really feel passionate about and share. And something I learned through that was that a lot of people like me are in a position where they have decided to take medication because it works for me, for us, and has been life-saving, but also comes with a slew of side effects that can be really hard to live with. And I've now been medicated for over 10 years. I have a lot of side effects that I, again, choose to live with, but talking to all these people more and more, that struggle and sort of eternal burden was something that I felt a lot less alone talking to all these people about, and also was something that I'm like, I really want to focus on this with the movie. So these conversations definitely informed the project. And then stuff picked up in terms of getting the movie made. I did a Tribeca program in 2018 called Untold Stories. It was like a pitch, and we didn't win it, but we met some people who helped us get to the next thing. I did a Sundance Lab, and then through that I met Susanna Fogel, who was my assigned mentor, and she is an amazing filmmaker and director who then became an EP on my project and helped me build a producing team. And then from then on, we shot the thing in the fall of 2021. And then we premiered at Tribeca the following June.
How do you feel about such small actors like, no name Steve Buscemi playing your dad? Had to Google him, no clue who he is. What was that like? What did your dad think?
What an honor.
It's funny because people who see the movie are really feeling like that is your dad. Like people who know my dad and watch the movie see a strong resemblance in their vibe. And I don't know, you guys don't know my dad, but maybe one day you will and you'll have something to say about it. But it was really crazy because I'm just like a random person from the Midwest and no shade on the Midwest.
We shade it all the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I call where we grew up fast food country.
Yeah, it's something. I think we lived in the same exact house, actually, which is the same house that we shot the movie in.
You shot the movie at your
What?
house?
Not the same house, but that model of house.
Oh, like
Oh my
the same
God.
like layout.
Yeah,
the
because
same
like
track home,
so
yeah.
many of the houses
funny.
in our area, there's like 4 types of houses.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And it's kind of depressing, but
Makes it feel real.
yeah.
You know, the authenticity. Yeah.
I do think that the movie feels very Midwest, which I'm excited about. But yeah, so I really just had like this script that I was really passionate about, a body of work that I was passionate about. And then I started working with an amazing casting director who, you know, we were able to pitch the script to J. Smith Cameron. Because first I was the first attachment. So
Yeah. Did
that
you
was another
always
thing.
know that you were going to act in
No.
it? Or
But the idea was pitched to me by the producing team and the casting director because they were like, you know, this is your story. And we kind of think it will help the movie get made if you so choose to act in it. And I didn't make the choice to do that because I was pursuing a lead role in something. It was because I was like, I think this will help the movie. I think this is right for the movie. I think the humor that's written into the script is largely based on me and how I speak and how I operate. And that at any step of the process of making the movie, I've been very like, does it serve the film or not? And so that was where that came from. And I was very scared to shave my head. I shaved my head twice a week for, 6 weeks during the shoot. I'm bald.
Gosh.
Anytime I have hair in the movie, it's a wig. Except the one scene where I shave my head, which is the first scene we shot.
yeah.
But anyway, sorry. So then Jay came on and she was amazing. And she had worked with Steve before on a movie called Nancy that came out like about 6 years ago or something, starring Andrea Riseborough. And it's awesome. And Jay and Steve are married in that movie and they play her parents. And so she was like, I wanted her to be involved in the casting of the character who would be her husband and my dad. And she suggested Steve, and she was able to send him the script and we got it in front of him, and he was super busy, but made time for our shoot and came out to Illinois and Oak Brook. Stayed in Hamburger University.
Hamburger University, for
There's-
anyone who doesn't know. McDonald's headquarters campus is in
No
Oak
way.
Yeah.
Brook, Illinois.
Yeah.
And they
It's
call
really-
it Hamburger University.
It's really
Wow.
dark. There's also like weddings there. I don't know.
Yeah.
There were several weddings there while we were there. There's McDonald's statues around.
Giant fucking mall.
Yes.
Like the biggest outdoor mall.
It's extremely cursed. It's always such a long chain of a story when people are like, how did you get this movie made? Because it's a series of a million things that happen over the span of like 7 years.
Yeah. Well, I think that just talks to the power of your story and your script, that you're able to reach that many people, right? I think that's the kernel that you're trying to get to with this story.
Yeah. Thank you. I think so. I think that people are, from what I've experienced through a few film festivals and just in general, it seems like people are excited to hear mental illness addressed in this kind of tone, because it's a comedy, but it's not like it's not jokey. The humor is really just based in truthful situations and honesty, and I think people can relate to that. And I also think, the main character is based on a version of my past self, which was not manic pixie dream girl. It's like manic hellish demon from the depths of, I don't know.
Depths of Illinois.
Yeah,
A Midwestern goblin.
from the depths of like Hamburger University. So yeah, and some have said, what an unlikable character. And to that I say, like, agreed, and those people are out there. They are among us. And if you give the movie a chance, I think you'll see that a person who is quote unquote maybe surface level unlikable learns something and like has the chance to grow. which is something I hope that we all give people the chance to do.
Yeah. 100%. What goes into, now that we're going into the week the movie's going to be released?
Yeah.
What is your schedule like? Like, what do you do as the star, the writer?
Are you stressed out? I feel like I'd be so stressed out.
Yeah. I'm really stressed out because I feel that there's just so much content being made all the time in 2023. I mean, forever, but there's a million TV channels. There's a million indie movies. There's so much good stuff. So it's always a question of how do you make sure people see your thing and get it out there? And that's why, something like this is so awesome, because it's just like being able to reach people and draw attention to the thing you made is crucial and hard to do. And that's something that is definitely weighing on me this week is how am I going to make sure that this movie is like launched with a bang and some people see it. Right. And but that said, I still feel less stressed out than I did before, finishing the movie, because the end of post-production was a time where I was just like, oh, is this movie going to be good? And good is not like objective, so I can't say like good or bad, but what I can say is I'm really happy with it, and it is what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So I know that, and from whatever happens from that is a little out of my control, and I just think, let's see what happens.
That's a very healthy way to look at it.
Yeah.
I love my base bag. It fits everything inside, and Eugene is always stealing it from me, which makes me mad. Baze was created by actress Shay Mitchell to make sleek and affordable bags, luggage, and accessories designed to help you travel effortlessly while still looking fashionable. Baze has thought of everything you could ever want in a piece of luggage. 360-degree gliding wheels, a cushioned handle, built-in weight indicator, washable bags for your dirty clothes, and all the interior pockets you need to stay organized. Every piece is made to look better with miles, and you don't have to worry about it in cargo or overhead. And Baze has over 30,000 5-star reviews. Right now, Baze is offering our listeners 15% off with your first purchase by visiting bazetravel.com/sitwithus. Go to bazetravel.com/sitwithus for 15% off your first purchase. That's BEIS travel.com/sitwithus.
Because it goes through so many, like how involved were you in editing? Because it has to go through so many different hands while I'm sure like you wrote something and then as you're there, cinematography.
Rewrites.
Yeah.
All that
yes,
stuff. Yeah.
Definitely. It's like writing it and rewriting. I probably wrote like, 12 major drafts over the years, and then, directing it, and you write. And there's things like, I think this happens in every movie set, but like, things come up, there were more scenes written to be in a hospital, but we couldn't get the location for that many days. So suddenly it's like, hey, you need to cut like these scenes or rewrite them elsewhere. Stuff like that happened left and right up until and during the shoot. So that's a thing. But because I'm directing it, even though doing those things at the same time is really a lot, I have my hand in everything, so I kind of understand like if I make certain changes to the script, how it's going to affect what I do on set and how it's going to affect the main character, which is me. And meanwhile, it's taking me 40 minutes every morning in between scenes to get a different wig like glued to my head. It was wildly inefficient, but the team was amazing and did a great job. And from there, the other thing is that my cinematographer, director of photography, Jason Chu, who's a good friend of mine who is based in Chicago, lives there, he had shot a bunch of my shorts, which I, again, also directed and acted in. And we, through doing that, really established this kind of great creative flow and working dynamic that really helped jumping onto the feature set, just being on the same page so intuitively most of the time. That was crucial. And so that really helped in terms of shooting it. And then as far as editing, another really good friend of mine, Harrison Atkins, who is an amazing editor and director, I don't know if you guys saw Emily the Criminal. It came out this year. He edited
Yeah.
that. But he edited the movie and we sat together the entire time. It was very collaborative and he was so sensitive to every bit of like, at every turn, there's always the question of, is this being done respectfully? Is it funny? Is it tight? And is it like also serious enough to be as serious as the subject is? He's so like emotionally in tune with it and got it. And since we're such good friends, that really helps because we have this like great working relationship and rapport. I just think working with your friends, I mean, I'm sure you guys are all friends, I hope. But like, you know, it
Depends on the day.
yeah,
Ask me tomorrow.
it's like working with your friends is fucking awesome because you just get each other.
It's like a
And-
different level of respect. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if you guys would speak to this, but it's like when you, when you disagree on something, you just can voice it and like hash it out. And it's not this delicate, there has to be this veil of some type of awkwardness or professionalism because you can just be real with each other.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Harrison was amazing. And I was just very involved. Our composer who came on, oh my God, our composer came on like, I don't know, 2 weeks before we had to lock the movie or something. We had a delay with getting to scoring it. And she came on and scored the whole thing in like a week and a half. And I was camped down in the corner of her like studio as she's playing the piano. And I'll say I was very extremely involved in every single leg of everything. But oh yeah, I got to shout out our colorist, Kath Raish, who's at Company 3 in New York, and our sound designer, Kyle Anderson, who is in like the backwoods of upstate New York. I don't know if you guys saw The Whale. He does all of Darren Aronofsky's movies. He's really awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, the credit is like to them, but I'll just say I was for sure involved and it was cool to be so involved. And I feel really lucky because it's not always a given that a director will get final cut on a movie and definitely not a first time feature director for an indie movie. I mean, it's very common for producers to come in and be like, no, we do, you know, you will make these changes because ultimately I answer to them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They own the movie and I work for them at the end of the day. So they were so cool. I mean, level forward, full spectrum, you know, these people who are running shit are just put a lot of faith in me, and that was just really lucky for that. We had 7 producers. I was one of them. So many people work on a movie.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't realize everything
Exactly.
that goes on behind the scenes. How many
Exactly.
hands
It's like
it
there's
takes.
100 people in the credits. Truly, everyone is necessary, and if we have someone who's not doing the job they were doing, there is no movie.
What was the reaction from like your family and like your husband Casper? Like, what did they all think of it when it came out? Because obviously your family was a lived experience with you through this time in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Casper, like,
Yeah.
you guys have been together for
Yeah.
100 trillion years.
Oh, 1,000
Trillion.
million.
100 trillion years.
Yeah, definitely. Like, my family had never read the script. They had only knew that I was living in their basement trying to make a movie for many years. And that was cool that they just allowed me to do that for sure. And that's a huge privilege that I probably don't talk about enough, that just the fact that I was able to live somewhere rent free for like 5 years while I worked on a screenplay is really a huge gift. I mean, it was hard and I complained about it constantly, but it is like a massive privilege. And so they were super supportive all the while, not even really knowing what I was doing. And then when the movie, you know, I didn't want them to read the script because even at that point, I was like, it's so personal and they are represented in such a way that I need them to see it brought to life with good actors. Because I fear that if they just read it, they're not going to be able to picture it in this like sort of visceral, emotional, respectful way that I have in mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Were your sisters like, what the fuck? Why are we a brother now?
Yeah. They're like, why are we collectively a brother?
Sister erasure.
Yes. Actually, kind of. I think, but the truth is, and this is like something that, again, it's like everything with bipolar disorder in the movie comes directly from my life. That said, a lot of it is fiction, you know, and draws from different people and draws from, you know, Kat's brother Phil and things like that. But certainly the feelings I had about people in my life and the movie itself are represented in different ways. So while my, you know, 3 sisters aren't in it exactly as the way they are in real life, problems I had with my sisters growing up are depicted through these fictional characters and stuff like that. I mean, I don't want to, you know, there's a love interest and we know people commonly that's based on. I'm
so excited.
We'll
see
debrief
this now.
later. Yeah. Like, so it's like, it's not an exact rip, but everything comes from someone who I deemed as integral to my journey with figuring out mental illness. Not that I've figured it out, but just that whole process and a lot of people in my hometown and like what they meant in that context.
Yeah. Is it going to get released at like the AMC, like Corey or like Orland?
Yeah.
Like
it's going to be at the Oscars.
Yeah. Other than the Oscars, you know, other than that.
No, for sure.
But is it going to have like its Midwestern glory?
So
like
that's a great
premiere?
question.
The pomp and circumstance.
The Payless
The
premiere.
Midwest pomp and circumstance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that the truth is like TBD.
Yeah.
You know, I think it starts in 5 cities. And part of that is something I've learned is because, you know, by having a theatrical release that ties into being how available you are on demand, because it puts you in more categories. You're in like in the in theaters now category, which you need to be in, you know, in theaters to do that. So we started in 5 theaters. Luckily, New York and LA are 2 of them, and that's great. That's huge. Chicago, and because our timeline has been so shortened, like even from even making the movie, but to, you know, we just as a point of context, we delivered our movie to Tribeca like 3 days before our premiere. I mean, because that's when it was finished. And so every step of the way, our timeline has been like shrunk, and it's been the same with our distribution. So you got to book movie theaters pretty far in advance because they book up. So that is kind of the life, I think, of the theatrical version. And there's going to be a run in Chicago, but it's like end of March at Facets. I think it's like if your movie really picks up steam and becomes, you know, Napoleon Dynamite or something, then maybe it goes into the bigger theaters, but I'm not actually sure.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I think so much is online now, is like just
that's
on
true.
demand.
Yeah.
I watch 90% of
Streaming?
movies online now. Not gonna lie.
Same.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm like kind of weirdly happy about with this is, you know, I feel like a lot of people are like, this is a movie you have to see in theaters. You have to see it on a big screen. I don't actually think that about this movie. I think it's a movie that does really great just on a computer screen or on a home screen.
Yeah.
It's not
More accessible.
exactly. And it's also just like a little bit intimate of a comedy, and it's sort of a maybe a little bit weird experience. I don't really know, but I think that like weirdly, I think like viewing it in solitude might be a cool thing. And that's been the feedback that I've gotten from people who have watched it, you know, at home Tribeca or whatever. So I'm like excited for the on-demand thing.
And so accessible.
What does success look like for you then? Is that what success looks like?
Yeah. I just want so many people to see it. And then people write about it in a way that's like, this is doing something interesting for this subject. That to me is what success looks like. And then also just like, then making other stuff, you know?
Are there any other projects on your plate now, or are you like, no, blinders on?
On to the next already?
The year between
Becky.
only.
Also, I feel that I have to acknowledge that I'm wearing my own merch. And
Same, girly.
it's embarrassing.
Same.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I love that.
This was just outside. I got a nosebleed earlier on my white sweater, so we're gonna keep trying, girly.
Okay, but I think when you do it, it's charming, and when I do it, it's kind of like what? But
I like it. It's cute.
Thank you. We gave these to our crew as a wrap gift. So
so fun.
yeah, it was fun. But I do have like a bunch of other irons in the fire. I think
Everything takes so long. You never know what's going to hit.
everything
Yeah.
takes so long. You don't know like who's going to like what or what's going to be relevant. And I do think that maybe the release of this movie will be telling for what the next thing of mine is going to be.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
I would love to make more movies. I would love to make a TV show. I think I'm a very like story-driven person. I'm not someone who set out as like, I want to be a director and that is my dream and I must direct film. It's more so like there's certain things that I really want to say and talk about and really fun landscapes. And not all of them are as serious or as delicate as bipolar disorder. Some are maybe more so, a lot are less so. But I'm a very like inspired by my hometown and the Midwest and my roots and things I've lived that I'm really inspired by that. And I have a lot of stories that I want to draw from in that sense.
I'll be horrified whenever they come out.
Yeah. You'll be horrified for sure.
The Midwestern.
It's so crazy that we have some crazy times.
Yeah.
Like, can we just say that?
I want to know a little bit more about Becky from back in the day.
Okay,
Do you have any
we
good
were
Becky
totally
stories?
normal.
Let's get
We
into
were
it.
normal, cool kids.
No, we weren't normal.
We were popular.
It's
we
like,
were.
I
hip.
wish we were like off the air right now because there are some things that we need
my
to
God,
unpack.
Becky always paints herself as this perfect little
I was
angel.
an angel.
No,
we
she
were
was.
angels.
Yeah, we were
We were
angels.
cute. We were actually like very good kids.
We
Like,
were good kids.
compared to what some kids were getting up to. We were like,
Compared to everyone
we
else,
were-
we were
good.
being like dingle dongle.
Here's the thing: we were really good kids, but then in the realm of really good kids, we were bad kids. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's just,
Yes.
I mean, Becky was like one of my first friends in high school. I was a freshman and she was a senior, and her friend Natalie and Christine, like, I don't know why I'm naming everybody, but I'm just having a flashback and it's kind of awesome.
to the freshman show.
Freshman show. Yeah, like directed, and this friend Kat, who I've referenced, who's like a part of my screenplay and stuff. I think this group of seniors kind of took us freshmen like under their wing, and we felt very cool to have like these older friends. And Becky was always a facilitator of. I feel like you were always bringing people together. Like, I think,
I did work parties.
memories at your
changed.
house.
Still do.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had a lot
Yeah.
of sleepovers. I sent Alex a terrifying picture of us all like on my parents' couch.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
a big
God, the
couch.
old
Yeah,
text.
I don't know why my
Big
parents let
couch.
us have so many sleepovers. I think we just like terrorize them.
You also had like hella rabbits.
You did love my fat rabbit.
OB.
OB. R.I.P. OB.
there was Cinnamony and there was OB, aka Other Bunny.
Oh my God.
Other bunny.
Other bunny, because we couldn't think of a name
It's
for
really
it.
dark. I was
is.
partial.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
You also had an iconic pet though in Chauncey.
Chauncey, there's a dog in the year between
Yeah.
named Chauncey as a namesake to my dog.
Aw,
And
sweet.
he was a little
Honor.
chonker.
He was a chonker. Legally, he was a chonker. And rest in peace to that guy.
Yeah.
He's
Partying with OB. OB and Cinnamony.
Him and OB
They're
are there.
getting lit.
They are. They're getting litty. No, they're not. Yeah, but it's just surreal because we reconnected like when I moved out here.
Yeah. I feel like we were like very, very close in high school and
Yeah.
then those college.
Yeah.
Like I even feel like watching this movie, I'm going to learn more about your life in between those years because we like
Yeah.
kind of kept in touch,
Yeah.
kind of.
It's kind of like you drift away when you go to
Yeah.
different schools. And then I think the adult years are telling of, I think especially like your late 20s, people start to kind of come back to you if it was meant to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember when Becky first started dating Keith and was talking about like her boyfriend who was in a traveling improv group. And he said Octo.
Real cool.
No.
Oh, Octavarius.
No, it was really cool because I was
Yeah.
like an aspiring improv comedian. And
Yeah, and you did stand up. I remember
Yeah,
going to your stand up show that one
exactly.
time and was like
at the Laugh Factory.
dead. I was deceased.
Yeah, that exactly. And so I mean, I always thought it was really cool because I didn't know of anyone else who was like a working comedian. Other
Yeah,
than,
that's true.
Yeah, and so that was that was really cool. And I just remember that. And then I remember when you moved out here and you guys got married, and here you are.
And then you got married.
I got married.
Alex actually has a really cool, like totally separate from the movie and like our high school years. She has a very interesting story with her husband. If you want to share kind of how you guys met and then leading up to your marriage.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want to know, but like, I don't know.
It's pretty cool.
Don't force it on them.
I want to know.
We got time. Where are we at?
Hyping it up.
We got time. It's cool.
To hear the story now.
Well, the thing is that right after I came back to school, you know, I had always really wanted to study abroad. That's like all I wanted out of college, and I couldn't go because I had like extreme health constraints. And then I found out I could do a research grant for a month and go away, and that's the opportunity I could do through my school. And I applied. I had this whole whatever. I had a project, and I went to Norway because that was my starting point, because my aunt had a colleague there, and like she was my sponsor, and it all came together. And then I went out there, and I had no friends, and I was like, this is not, I'm imagining all my friends like partying together in Prague or something, and I'm here alone, like living with a host family, and it's in a suburb of Oslo, and was so like cold. Not cold, even in the summer, you know, but it was just like, it was truly like lonely and, you know, nerve-wracking. But then a friend of mine was just like, why don't you get on like a dating app or something? And this was before Tinder, I think, even existed. I knew not a single person. Yeah. It's kind of like my experience with mental illness. Like, you know, my experience with dating apps is like, I never, the only thing I'm like, okay, I've heard of eHarmony and I think it has a stigma. But, so, you know, I think it's like people think only predators like go on that, which is not fair. But yeah, so
put some respect on eHarmony.
Put some respect on Match.com. You know, but I went on OkCupid, and then I like connected with a local man, and we had this like
Norwegian.
Yeah, Norwegian guy. Torrid affair over a month. Never thought I would see him again.
Torrid. Wow.
Torrid, like the store. And and like we just organically kept in touch. We never were like, let's be in a long distance relationship. We just kind of stayed like friends who talked on Facebook Messenger. We fast forward to when I was trying to get him a green card. I saved our entire, because you have to submit all this evidence to the government. We had like 200,000 messages on Facebook. So crazy. But
the government
also, government, you little perverts.
Donald Trump read our conversation. No, I had no idea. But like, yeah. But then we just visited each other kind of organically. And then it kind of came to a point where it had been a few years, and really just like when you're in an international long distance relationship, you get married and live in the same place, or you don't. And it's not like we didn't want to get married or we wouldn't have, but that definitely was a factor of why we did it when we did it. So we got married in a courthouse in Joliet. No one knows that.
Woo! That's where I got my marriage certificate signed, because we got married in Joliet.
Or
near Joliet.
Joliet is cursed as hell. But shout out, put respect on its name.
Shout out to was it Andy
the
Dick?
penitentiary?
I think is from there.
Oh, really?
Shout out to the closed jail.
Yeah, there's a jail it's famous for. But then I had a wedding. I had a wedding in Norway a year later. But green card process was a nightmare. It took 2 years, and now we live together in Los Feliz, nearby where Becky used to live.
Woo!
Wow.
And
shout out Los Feliz.
It was a journey.
Definitely.
It's crazy.
So do you speak Norwegian now?
So I'm on Duolingo.
Oh, there
great.
we go.
Lit. Give us some
I don't know if
stuff.
you guys are on it, but like, what the fuck is up with the owl? He's so rude.
He's there to teach you. He's there to beat it into your head.
It's like,
supposed to be wise, you
it's
know?
like I get these emails sometimes that are like, you made Duo sad. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. You know what
emotional manipulation.
It's seriously.
By the AI.
It's such a crazy strategy to try to get people to learn a language to like make them feel like shit, or like they're avoiding their friend or something who's this owl, like this green animated owl. Exactly. It's like, it's just fucked. And I'm just like, I'm just over it, except I'm still on it. And I'm learning a language that people only speak in Norway, and a country of 5 million people. And I'll never, although I do hope to shoot a movie there. So that's one of my potential projects that I'm maybe.
I mean, I love Scandi crime dramas,
Oh yeah.
so that would be amazing.
Wait. Really?
Wait,
He really
yes.
does watch
I
a
watch,
lot
like,
of
a lot of them.
Scandinavian
That's so
shows.
specific.
It is. Well, because they're always like very dark and everything's like very grayscale. And it's like some horrific crime had happened. And then there's like usually a lady detective, sometimes a man detective, and they're like trying to get to the bottom of it. But then they have a lot of personal issues too that like feed into it. And then like their kids get kidnapped. You know, it's always like very extreme and dark.
Wait,
It's like-
what's like?
But it also
what's
is
an
like
example?
very, but it's also like very,
He's imagining it now.
but it's also like very like, it's not like, you know how a lot of American TV shows like just so much noise and like arguments and stuff like that. It's not, it's still very calming. So it's like a weird mix where it's very calm, but so many disturbing things are happening.
I mean, I kind of can imagine it because I think a lot of Scandinavian film is very restrained. That's why I like a lot of like Swedish, Danish, Norwegian comedies because they're very like restrained and minimal, and I find that funnier than being super broad. So I can sort of imagine what you're picturing. And as a side note, my husband Casper had a podcast that was really successful in Norway. That was a true crime podcast.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah, for like it's on its like 5th season now.
So cool.
He's not doing it anymore, but yeah, it's in
all
Norwegian,
the
so I've
crazy-
never listened to it.
Hey,
So
once
is
you're
it-
done with Duolingo, you can binge.
So is it mostly crimes that like happen in Norway then?
So actually,
Or, like,
they kind of look at crimes that have happened in America
Okay.
and through this lens of
Oh.
being in another country and being Scandinavian. Because even though Norway is a Western country, I've spent a lot of time there. It's and yes, people speak English, but speaking English and having it be your default language is a world of difference. It's like no one ever speaks to me. No one ever speaks English unless they're speaking to me. And you take that for granted. Like overhearing people and joining conversations is part of
like social life.
exactly.
Connecting.
Anyway, their culture is really different, even though it's similar in a lot of ways. And so I think they have along with a lot of the world, have fascination with America in like a grotesque way. You know, exactly.
Look at these
Like
murderers
crazy.
they got.
Yeah, like these barbarians.
Crazy.
So, you know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of that. But I wanna check out your refs.
Yeah, what are you
I'll just
watching
send
right
you a
now,
list.
Matt?
I'll just send you a list. Well, lately I've been more into some English, like more twee stuff. but
Yeah.
I need to get back into my Scandi, but I'll send you a list.
You watch Scum? By
No.
any chance? It's not crime, but it's like.
I haven't.
Did you ever see Skins?
Yes.
Yes.
British.
Mhm.
Scum is like the Norwegian version.
Oh my God. I have seen
Oh.
clips of this on
Yeah.
TikTok and I
Yeah.
tried to find it on Netflix because I was like, this
Yeah.
looks like my fucking
It's really
show.
good. It's good. If you, it's like a Degrassi, but it's it's like a little more elevated, but
Yeah.
not too much more. You know, no shade. Let's not put shade on its name.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a little over 10 minutes left, and I want to come
Yeah.
back and can we do some quick hits? I've got some questions that
Yeah.
so I'm going to ask some questions and then in like 30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
Okay, first of
Fire.
all,
Oh my
I think
gosh.
it's an amazing movie. It's
Wow,
really
Rainie.
funny. Yeah, it has my stamp of approval, and I don't even give that out lightly.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's really beautiful, and I think it's hilarious. So I feel like you're not hyping it up enough, and I do want the audience to know that it is wicked. Very,
Wicked.
Put it into them.
very, very sharp.
Thank you so much for saying that. And that's like the best thing that I could hope for because it's a tricky place to hype your own thing. You know?
Yeah, especially if you're a woman.
Yeah,
Whatever. We don't have to get
it's
into
true.
that.
We'll
but-
do it for you.
No, it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
And when you're like the face of it too, it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
But,
and you are an amazing actress, and the reviews, the critics agree.
Wow.
Because I looked it up on IMDb. I looked up the reviews. And they were like, that
I don't read them
acting-
because I'm scared.
Yeah, I mean, I would never listen. The YouTube comments are like a nasty place.
Yeah,
so
I
I
don't
get
look.
it. But
we don't look.
Yeah.
Don't go on Reddit.
Yeah, stay away. Anyway, so quick hits. How long did it take you to edit? How many hours?
We did it over the span of 2 months and we worked on it full time. So 40 hours a week, 2 months.
Wow. Who edited your script? How many people did you trust to edit?
A lot of people read that script over the years.
Yeah.
And I had a few people who were more influential than others. But what I found is even notes from someone who is so different from you, has different tastes, isn't even in the film industry, those can be some of the most valuable notes because those are the people watching your movie. So you don't only want like film or like cinephiles reading your thing.
Yeah.
You want like people you're trying to reach to read your thing.
Yeah. Was there any one note that like you couldn't shake? Like it was like a bunch of people gave it and you're like, I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to fix it.
Oh, there were a few notes. There were a few notes that I couldn't shake, but one of them that happened earlier on in the process was like, it made me so mad at the time because someone was like, you are not depicting bipolar disorder in an accurate way, blah, blah, blah. And I was so mad because I'm like, what are you saying? Like, yes, I am. I lived it. This is my experience.
Yeah.
But weirdly, that comment like sat with me because it did make me realize something, even though it was kind of ignorant and frustrating. I was avoiding certain parts of living with the illness because they were too uncomfortable for me to tap into. And those are some of the more common effects and symptoms. And so even a comment like that felt ignorant and made me angry helped me unlock something in myself. And the other thing is, I got a comment days before shooting from our one of our EPs, Aj, who's amazing, that was basically like, it seems like you're not being very kind to this character. And it made me realize that I had such a wall between that version of myself and who I am now that I was basically doing nothing but showing the character in a completely unfavorable way and punishing her heavily and not having much sympathy for her as like a creator looking down on a character. And so I had a lot of rewrites at the last minute that added a little more. Basically, I added something that Clemens has this like creative interest that I have always had. She didn't have that before that comment because I felt that she didn't deserve an interest. And then I decided to like give her one. Yeah.
What was there anything that like any mishaps on set? Did people show up late?
Oh yeah. There were mishaps. I mean, with an indie movie, it's like a minefield. There's just always something. There's one day we accidentally created a leak in the house we were shooting in, and then there was water coming from the ceiling, or obviously accommodating people like who are very legit actors and working actors. That always creates more. You want to do everything right by them and do everything perfect. And one thing I did want to say, it's separate, but I never really answered what was it like to work with Jay and Steve. And I just want to say that they were fantastic to work with. Steve Buscemi Steve Buscemi, J. Smith Cameron, amazing to work with, so down to earth, so chill. And like by the time I was acting as their daughter, I felt so comfortable with them. And it was very doable to be on set with them and direct them and look at them as equals and coworkers and not just like be starstruck. Yeah. I went into it that way, but they made it so that I could not be that way anymore.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Last question. What do you think you learned about like that time in your life from making the movie in retrospect?
I have a lot of complicated feelings towards the ages of 16 to 24, and we're all learning and trying to do the best we can. I have a lot of gratitude for everyone who supported me through that time, who stuck around, who helped me, who saw the worth in trying to do so. And it's been a really long journey trying to come to terms with every version of myself that I've ever been equals the self that I currently am, because it's very tempting to want to distance yourself from things that hurt you and where you've hurt others, which is like even worse. So I have an amazing family who I'm very close with, every single one of them. And I really believe in the ability to mend relationships too. And I think it takes a lot of work. And being and living with a mental illness sometimes gives you tunnel vision where you can't understand what you're doing and how it affects other people. But I found that I've found some awareness, and I have improved like my life and my relationships, and I want to show that in this movie. And definitely, I wish I could it's cheesy, but I do wish I could tell my younger self like, hang in there, and you're doing the best you can and like it's okay. And I do want to like forgive that person and give them some give them a break and give them a hug. Yeah.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
Yes.
Alex, where can people watch The Year Between right now? Where can they click this moment?
This very moment, you can see The Year Between on demand, which means Amazon, Google Play, Apple TV, and other standard ways you can rent a movie. I think that might also just be your typical on-demand section of your provider.
Make sure you stream The Year Between if you are in a city.
One thing I wanted to say is Peacock is also a part of our distribution, and they are part of our sale. And the movie will be on Peacock as of May for a long, long time.
Ooh.
Amazing.
For Mental Health Awareness Month, which is May.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
We love Peacock.
It's on demand now, and then it will go there. And yeah, stream the shit out of it. That's all I have to say.
Love it.
Watch it, comment, let us know what you think about it. If it's playing in theaters near you, check your local art houses and check it out IRL or stream it on any of those providers.
And where can they find you online, Alex?
Yeah, your meme account, your regular account. Give it to us all.
So I have an Instagram called The Mentally Trillist where I post like mental health, mental illness memes and, bullshit. And it's fun. I post about this movie too, but you can find me there and you can find some weird content if you're into that. If you're into the movie, you might be into the content there. But I don't have my name on it because I'm also like, it's kind of my alter ego. Anyway.
You're Dumois. You're the Dumois of mental health.
I'm the Dumois of mental
illness. You stay anonymous.
I've also called this movie the Avatar of mental illness.
There we go.
No one else has seconded that, but I'm trying to start
I think it's going to catch on. I think it'll catch on.
Becky's going to write that.
I'm going to do
Becky's.
it.
Cool.
Already drafting my tweet. Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. This was super fun, and sorry if I was awkward, but I had a lot of fun, and I'm excited for all of you to see the movie.
Yes,
we're
so
excited.
to see
I'm seeing it Thursday. Kelsey Dar and I have a date planned already to vibe and cry and laugh.
Please vibe.
And probably be disturbed by whoever the love interest is.
You know what? Yeah.
Well, guys, make sure you're washing your hands, wearing your mask when you need to, getting vaccinated for all the shit. Be nice to people, tip your servers, and go see The Year Between.
Go see it.
Go see it.
Go see it.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.